ever just, circled a city block again and again, looking for parking? It's maddening, right? Or maybe you've seen the buzz around street vendors, admire their energy, but also kind of wondered about the chaos, the challenges they must face. Well, what if technology could actually step in, untangle some of these really complex city problems here in India, maybe even empower whole communities? Today, we're doing a deep dive into how cities, especially in India, are trying to manage incredibly valuable public spaces. We're talking about everything from busy curbsides to those dynamic street vending zones. This deep dive draws on several articles, different resources, looking specifically at a platform called Kerblet, and also parking management, street vendor empowerment more broadly. Our mission really is to understand not just the problems, which are pretty persistent, but how tech is creating some, well, perhaps surprising solutions that could benefit everyone. Civic bodies, us everyday drivers, and crucially, the millions of street vendors who are just so vital to urban life. Okay, let's unpack this.
It's such a critical area because the curb, it's so much more than just, a place to leave your car. What's really fascinating, I think, is that it's this vast, incredibly valuable piece of city real estate, a totally overlooked asset for the most part. Just think about all the competing demands, right? Short-term parking, yes, but also spots for autos and scooters, rideshare pickups and drop-offs, commercial loading, even those little outdoor dining parklets we see now, all vying for the same bit of space.
That's a key point. And for decades, these curbs, they've just been neglected, haven't they? Built and managed primarily for, well, just physical parking. And this has led to a pretty significant economic drain. Our sources, they show cities in India are missing out on crores. I mean, it's 10 million rupees per crore. It's a staggering amount of potential revenue, money that could be funding infrastructure, other city needs. And the COVID-19 pandemic, kind of surprisingly, really threw this into sharp relief, didn't it?
Yeah. It really did. It highlighted just how much revenue was being lost. It forced cities to face up to how undervalued, how unmonetized these public assets were. Suddenly, they saw this massive untapped funding source when other money dried up. It was a real wake-up call, I think, to the true economic cost of just letting it be.
Yeah, a wake-up call. And this gets to a public misconception, doesn't it? This sort of mistaken belief that drivers or maybe shop owners are somehow entitled to use this roadside space for free or, for next to nothing.
Exactly. That perception has really degraded the value of what is prime city real estate.
So, okay, if this space is so valuable, why have we been leaving all this money on the table for so long? And more importantly, how does technology actually step in here? How does it unlock this potential? It sounds like we're moving towards something people are calling the digital curb.
That's the idea. Rethinking the whole approach for, well, a more dynamic future. Tomorrow's curb, it needs to be flexible. And crucially, it has to be managed by technology.
Right, not just static paint on the road.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this isn't just about being more efficient. It's about transforming this overlooked asset into something dynamic, something that generates revenue. Revenue that can directly fund city improvement, turning that historical economic drain into potentially an economic engine.
Okay, an economic engine. So connecting that to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
The current ways of managing parking, they have some pretty serious flaws, right?
Oh, absolutely. Stark flaws. For one, rates are often way too low. They're not based on demand at all. You see reports of over 85% occupancy in places like Aurangabad and Pune, and nearly 100% in central Mumbai during peak times.
Wow, 100% occupancy. I mean, what's the actual impact of that? For people living there, for businesses, it must be chaos.
It is constant circling, frustration, lost time. And then there's the whole off-street versus on-street pricing issue. It's completely backwards in many places.
Backwards how?
Well, intuitively, off-street parking, like in a garage, it should be cheaper, right? To encourage people parking longer term to get off the street. But our sources show that in all 29 state capitals in India, on-street parking is often free. Free! Meanwhile, only 4 cities even offer free off-street spots. It just shows a fundamental failure to calculate the true cost, the true value of that curb space.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
None at all. And on top of that, many cities just give away this prime property for free on nights and weekends, the more progressive cities. They actually charge during those peak evening and weekend hours. It ensures turnover, makes it easier for customers going out to find a spot.
Which makes sense if you see parking as a service, a public good.
Exactly. Paid parking is a public good. But the revenue, it needs to cover the rising costs, infrastructure, admin, enforcement, and ideally, it should also help fund more equitable transport options, too.
Okay, so we've laid out these pretty deep-seated problems with how urban space, especially the curb, is managed. So you might be wondering, listening to this, is anyone actually, cracking this code? And this is where a platform like Kerblet comes into the picture with some pretty comprehensive solutions, it seems.
Right, and technology is absolutely central to what they're doing. They're using everything: cameras, mobile apps, monetization platforms, GPS, Bluetooth, all for collecting data, monitoring what's happening, handling enforcement.
So it's not just gadgets, it's like creating a real-time nervous system for the city's curb.
That's a good way to put it. This kind of granular, instant data, it allows for truly dynamic pricing, quick responses to violations, a seamless user experience, stuff that was just impossible with the old static systems.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice? Their managed roadside parking?
Well, it's a system designed for civic bodies, for smart cities. It uses sensors and cameras to detect available spots, monitor violations in real time. It gives the city managers instant info on occupancy levels, revenue being generated. This data is just crucial for actually managing the space effectively.
And what about for us, the drivers? Is there anything in it for us apart from maybe higher fees?
Well, yes, there are real benefits. They have a mobile app. It gives you real-time info on where spots are available, what the rates are, even directions. You can reserve a spot, pay in advance, which, cuts down massively on that circling time and frustration.
Okay, that sounds genuinely useful. I remember driving in circles for like 20 minutes in Mumbai once, just feeling hopeless. That daily frustration, it adds up, doesn't it?
It really does. It impacts punctuality, stress levels, everything. Plus, Kerblet offers parking passes for frequent drivers. Cheaper, saves time, more convenient, no fiddling with meters or worrying about tickets.
Right. And they do something else interesting, too, with private spaces. Parking sharing.
Yes. This is quite innovative. It's basically a system where property owners can rent out their unused spaces, maybe a driveway, a spot in a garage, or part of a private lot. The idea is it reduces congestion overall, saves drivers money, increases parking availability, and importantly, it creates extra income for the property owners. They say they pay owners weekly for rented spaces, which is pretty unique, and the owners keep control over the prices and when the space is available.
That sounds like a potential game changer for people with unused space, like Airbnb for parking spots. But what about shopkeepers? You often hear resistance from them about pay and park schemes. They worry it'll drive customers away, right?
That's a common concern, yes. A shopkeeper might think, why would my customer pay Rs 10 for parking just to spend Rs 100 in my shop? But the flip side is, having readily available, predictable parking actually increases footfall. It makes businesses more accessible. Kerblet tries to help local authorities implement paid parking in a way that considers the shopkeeper's interests, using technology to make it seamless.
Okay, so it's trying to balance those needs.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they offer more than just the tech itself, like end-to-end management.
Exactly. They offer turnkey solutions, managing public, private, roadside parking, the whole thing. That covers layout design, figuring out optimal revenue strategies, enforcing regulations, staffing, maintaining equipment, customer service. The works. They help commercial parking operators boost their revenue too by adjusting rates based on real occupancy data. And they give these operators visibility to potentially lax hundreds of thousands of customers online, improving their reach and service.
It really strikes me how much parking discipline, or the lack of it, impacts a city's overall image. Organized spaces, clear rules, actual enforcement. It signals order, efficiency, respect for public space.
Absolutely. It enhances safety for pedestrians, cyclists, ensures emergency vehicles can get through. It helps mitigate traffic congestion just by using the space better. And there's an environmental angle too, right? Less circling means lower emissions. Ultimately, it fosters community pride, supports economic activity. It's all connected.
Okay, so that's the parking side, managing static assets, basically. But what about the more dynamic human element? You mentioned street vendors earlier. That's a whole different challenge, isn't it?
It really is. Let's shift focus there, because we're talking about a huge workforce in India, roughly 10 million street vendors. They play such an essential role in local economies, but they face enormous challenges: legal hurdles, harassment, a real lack of basic infrastructure.
They are incredibly vulnerable, despite being so vital. But there's legislation meant to protect them, right? The Street Vendors Act of 2014.
Yes, a landmark piece of legislation designed specifically to safeguard their rights and regulate their activities. Key things include protection from arbitrary eviction, harassment, formation of town vending committees, TVCs to survey vendors, issue certificates, designating specific vending zones, grievance mechanisms. It's quite comprehensive on paper.
On paper. But you hear about implementation gaps.
Big time. Despite the act, vendors still face huge problems. Bureaucratic delays are common, many lack digital access, which is increasingly important, and management on the ground is often just inefficient. And this is again where a platform like Kerblet aims to step in, trying to align its digital tools directly with the Act's provisions.
Okay, so how does a tech platform like Kerblet even begin to tackle something as complex, as human, as formalizing street vending?
Well, their approach seems multifaceted. One key thing is digitizing the availability of designated hawker spaces, both on private properties and spaces managed by civic bodies. This helps vendors find and secure formal, regulated spots, which, in turn, should reduce illegal vending and cut down on bureaucratic runaround. It's a step towards stability for them.
Stability, right? Getting a proper spot.
And beyond just the physical space, Kerblet offers them a digital marketplace, an online platform to showcase and sell their products.
Ah, so expanding their reach.
Massively, taking them beyond just local foot traffic, tapping into totally new customer bases online. You have to remember, street vending accounts for something like 14% of India's urban informal employment. So giving them digital tools to grow their business, that's potentially transformative.
Yeah, you can see how moving from just whoever walks past to potentially taking orders across the city.
Exactly. Imagine a food vendor maybe branching into catering or a craftsperson selling online. It could move them from a really precarious day-to-day existence towards a more stable entrepreneurial footing. A leap into the formal economy, perhaps.
And what about the red tape, the compliance side, getting those certificates you mentioned?
That's another huge pain point the platform tries to address. Getting that certificate of vending from the TVC can be really cumbersome, confusing for vendors. So Kerblet positions itself as a facilitator, guiding vendors through that process, sending notifications, offering assistance to help them stay compliant and avoid penalties.
So kind of navigating the bureaucracy for them.
Helping them navigate it, yes. And they also collaborate directly with the town vending committees, the TVCs, helping the TVCs streamline their own processes, surveying vendors, keeping records up to date, managing space allocation, tracking compliance. The goal is a fairer system, reducing overcrowding, making the vending zones more organized for everyone.
And payments. Street vending is often so cash-based.
Right. So Kerblet offers secure, transparent digital payment options. This cuts down on the risks of handling cash, sure, but maybe more importantly, it allows vendors to build an income record. And having a documented income trail, that's invaluable if they want to apply for a loan, get financial assistance, or just formally expand their business later on. It's a big step towards financial inclusion.
That is huge. Access to formal finance.
Definitely. And there's more. Say a vendor needs to relocate because their area becomes a no-vending zone. The platform aims to provide real-time info on available spots in other designated zones, helping make that transition smoother, minimizing disruption to their livelihood.
You know, just thinking about the peace of mind they could bring. Not worrying constantly about being evicted, harassed, having a secure, legitimate place to work. That's more than just economics, isn't it?
It's about dignity, absolutely. And they also mention providing training, digital literacy programs, helping vendors understand their rights under the Act, but also how to actually use these digital tools effectively to manage and grow their business.
So it's empowerment through knowledge and tools.
That seems to be the aim, empowering them to be more self-reliant, more competitive in this increasingly digital world.
Okay, so if we zoom out again, connect all these dots, parking management, vendor empowerment, what's the broader impact here? Societally, economically?
Well, there are some direct impacts. The managed roadside parking solutions, for example, they directly create jobs. New roles for young people in tech, customer service installing sensors, managing the software, support roles, and then there are indirect jobs too, right? Local businesses benefiting car washing services, valet parking, lot maintenance folks.
All right. So by helping vendors and modernizing parking, it seems Kerblet isn't just solving these sort of isolated urban issues. It's actually trying to stimulate economic growth, create more inclusive cities.
I think that's the bigger picture, yes. Using technology as a driver for positive social and economic change.
And maybe contributing to more sustainable cities, too.
Potentially, yes. By optimizing parking, you reduce congestion. Less circling means lower emissions. Promoting orderly roadside use could, maybe, encourage people towards public transport, walking, cycling. It all contributes to a more livable environment.
Okay, so just to recap then, we've seen how these digital solutions, exemplified by Kerblet, are trying to tackle really critical urban challenges on sort of two main fronts. First, modernizing parking management, making it more efficient, capturing revenue. Second, empowering this vital economic group, the street vendors. It really shows how technology can play a pretty fundamental role in improving city life across the board.
Which definitely leads you to wonder, doesn't it? What other really entrenched urban problems, things we just assume are the way things are, could actually be transformed by this kind of thoughtful digital deep dive?
Exactly. What does all this mean for the future of our cities? When you think about it, applying these digital tools strategically, it's not just about efficiency tweaks or finding more revenue streams. It seems to be about actually reshaping the very fabric of our urban communities, making them more organized, yes, but also more equitable, more economically vibrant. Which definitely leaves us with a question to ponder. What else out there is ready for a digital transformation?